Hey everybody, this is Jerry from VetTech Bytes, and today we're going to be talking about percent solutions. No, I hated percent solutions for the longest time. It didn't make sense to me, and I just kind of knew little cheater ways to get it done. But actually, I recently learned how to do it correct, and I also kind of learned the cheater way for that, and it actually made the entire process way easier. So I'm going to go ahead and just demystify the whole percent solution game today. That way, the next time you have to spike a used bag of LRS with some dextrose, it'll be super easy. Alright, let's get started. Now, a lot of people have the question of how to turn a percent solution into a concentration. So when it comes to that, all we have to do is remember that percent equals grams over 100 mils. So for instance, if we have a 20% solution, that is equal to 20 grams over 100 mils. And remember, 20 grams is equal to 20,000 milligrams over 100 mLs. These zeros actually cancel out, and so you're left with 200 milligrams per mil. So that's how to take a percent and turn it into a concentration, a mg per mil concentration. So if you need to pull up X milligrams or X grams of a percent solution, all you have to do is turn it into a concentration and then pull it up like normal. Now typically when dealing with percent solutions, you've been presented with this equation, C1V1 equals C2V2. It didn't make sense to me for the longest time, and that's because it's a bunch of letters and numbers that we don't know what mean. But when you know what the numbers represent, it gets actually a lot easier to remember. So C1 is the stock percentage. V1 is our variable because we need to know how much to pull out. That's the volume 1. And C2 represents the desired percentage, and V2 represents the desired volume. And so let's kind of turn this into an equation so it makes more sense. Alright, the classic problem. We want 5% dextrose in a 1 liter bag of LRS, and we have a 50% stock solution because typically that's what dextrose comes as, 50% dextrose. So if we set up our equation as C1V1 equals C2V2, C1 represents our stock, so that's 50%. V1 still represents X. C2 represents our desired percentage, which is 5%. And V2 represents our desired volume, which is 1 liter, 1,000 mils. So at this point, we need to treat this like every other math problem and isolate X, correct? So in order to do that, we need to divide both sides of this by 50%. And this is where our order of operations kind of comes into play, so PEMDAS. So we're going to go and do the parentheses, so 5 times 1,000 equals 5,000 over 50%, and then you divide 5,000 divided by 50, and that equals 100 mils. So with this answer, we know that we have to add 100 mils of a 50% solution into a 1 liter bag to get 5%. And remember to remove what you add. Alright, so now that we did it like the whole by the book way, yay for us, we can actually take some of those steps out, because while you're at work and have to do this maybe 14, 15 times a day, maybe you don't want to do this whole equation 14 to 15 times a day. So we can actually come up with a bit of a shorthand to kind of get to our answer a little bit faster. Alright, so let's say we need a 2.5% dextrose solution, but our bag's already kind of been used and only has 600 mils left. But our stock solution is still 50% because we're dealing with dextrose. So to take some of those steps out, you can kind of do, it's called need over have. So we need 2.5%. We need 600 mils, and we have a 50% stock solution. So if you look at this, this is actually structured the exact same way as our previous equation. We've just taken out the first few steps because it always goes the same way. So if you know that your desired percentage multiplied by your desired volume, take that number and you divide by your stock solution, you will get your answer every single time. So we take our desired percentage, 2.5%, times our desired volume, which is 600, we get 1500, and you divide that by 50, and you get 30 mils. So now we know we need to add 30 mils of a 50% dextrose solution into a 600 ml bag of LRS after removing 30 mils to get a 2.5% solution. And that's literally it. Need over have. Just remember that your desired percentage times your desired volume divided by your stock solution is your answer every time. No C1, V1, C2, V2. Need over have. It's way easier to remember and it works every single time. And if you don't believe me, you can do the C1, V1, C2, V2 method and be pleasantly surprised when it comes out to be the exact same. All right, let's just do it one more time just to sink it in, right? So we want a 7% dextrose solution in 900 mils of LRS. And again, we're dealing with dextrose, so we have a 50% stock solution to keep it consistent. So we know that our desired percent is 7% times our desired volume, which is 900 mils, divided by our stock, which is 50%. So 7 times 900 is 6,300, divided by 50 equals 126 mils. So we know that we have to add 126 mils to 900 mLs of LRS to get a 7% stock solution. And again, don't forget to remove what you add to keep it correct. And that's it. Honestly, it really was that easy. I hope I explained it okay. I just explained it the way it makes sense to me. If I just remember desired percent times desired volume divided by your stock solution, that seems way easier to remember for me than C1V1 equals C2V2. But I did want to explain that as well, just in case you understand that better. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I'm Jerry from VetTech Bites. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.